Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the November 2021 edition of the Virtual Coach in the Spotlight interview. Today, it's our pleasure to be here and interviewing Alessandra Ingrosso. So she is an associate board member for the ICF from the beginning of this year and has also joined and supported the marketing and communications team, not to mention all the many projects she's been working on last year, including the Coaching Summit. First of all, Alessandra, where are you from and what's your background?
Hi, Demidi. So first of all, thank you for having me. Thank you, Carmen, as well.
Thank you.
Where I'm from Italy. I'm from the Puglia region of Italy. That's where I grew up. So if you know Italy a little bit, it's in the south. It's the heel of the booth of Italy. And so I grew up very close to the beach. So my summers were all spent at the beach, really. I was really fortunate because the region has awesome food and traditions. And that's really where I grew up to the age of 18. I did my university nearby as well. And then I moved away after uni. I went to the US for almost 10 years in New York City, which made me almost a New Yorker after 10 years. And in fact, I actually called New York home. I really felt like home for some time. And sometimes I still think about it, and I feel like it's still home. And I've moved away now like 10 years ago. So it's been a while. And now I moved to Switzerland, I would say 11 years ago now. I live near Baden, Switzerland. And this is what I've been calling home for some time now. And I love it. I feel good here, although my German is really not ideal. But it feels like home now. And I also have a son here, so that helps to make it feel like home.
Oh, that's beautiful. And your homes all sound beautiful as well. So
it's I've been fortunate. I've lived in really nice places, and I've had really nice experiences with travel as well. So that's been nice.
Oh, I can imagine. Now, Alessandra, as a coach, what has led you to become a coach, and what do you personally love about being a coach?
Wow. So what took me to coaching or made me curious about coaching was the fact that I actually had a coach. So I was going through some transformation, personal discovery. And so I had my own coach, and I went through an exercise where I was really wondering kind of, what's next for me in my own life. And actually coaching came on the map, like kind of out of the blue in a way. And I became interested both because I experienced how powerful it can be, but also because actually, by exploration, it came up as something that I could be interested in doing. And it was aligned to my values. It was aligned at the time to, the type of lifestyle that I would have wanted to have, to be independent and work for myself. And so I started my own coach training. And what I love about coaching, it's really the opportunity to almost like walk alongside someone else for a very short piece of their lives. And really have that opportunity to support them, almost like a sneak peek into someone's story, but also have that opportunity to get close to someone else and help offer just that little bit of support, a little bit of insight that then can help them to, to transform as well their life, or to make that step forward that perhaps they need at that point in time.
Wow, that's such a nice metaphor for it. It's really inspiring. So to make that come to life, to make that coaching dream come to life, where did you do your training? How did it begin?
Yeah, I went to the ICA, so the International Coach Academy. And the reason I chose that was that it really fit my my situation at the time, because it's a school where all of the teaching really is done online, so remotely. And so because I was busy at the time and I had still a quite young baby, and so I could do my classes at any time, and that really helped. But also it was interesting uh, because the classes were online, I was able to meet people from all different parts of the world, and so that really felt really enriching, because you're able to experience different perspectives, and I was also able to take classes several times. That was a possibility, and so really experience a certain class with different teachers, and that was really super enriching to get the perspectives from different people, and participate in different discussions about the same topic. So that's really what I loved about that school.
Wow, that's fantastic, doing that on the side and already remotely before there was COVID and it was the norm.
Yes, I was a big advocate of remote even before the pandemic. Yeah, it's just I think live meetings are great, and there is a lot about meeting people face to face. But I think that also there is a lot of power of remote work, and a lot of it is also getting used to working in that way, and that's the way I really do coaching. Mostly it's remote, and I find that it works. Really, it's possible to really feel close and connected to people, even remotely. And so it's something that I experienced from the very beginning, and I still continue to do. And I'm a big believer also in reducing travel for the environment, and I think that this remote work aligns with that. So that doesn't mean that I never want to meet people face to face. Of course, the pandemic happened, so that wasn't possible. But I think it's great to meet face to face. But I think that remote work really aligns to what I believe in, also as it relates to doing our part to reduce emissions, to reduce traffic, and support the environment.
Fantastic. Yes. It's to think about it. Good perception. And apart from what you did then, which was already insane, doing it on the side and after work pretty much, what additional training or accreditation has enhanced your coaching toolkit?
I've done a couple of post certification trainings. One that I really enjoyed was the EQ training that I did with 6 seconds, and it was really enriching for me to do that work about really thinking about emotions and what that means, and being able to recognize and name emotions and the difference that that makes versus just the brain work that perhaps I was more doing previously. And then more recently I've done a Designing Your Life certification. Designing Your Life is a methodology that was set up by two professors at Stanford University, and it's really a set of tools that aim to help people that are looking to take a next step in their lives, to really build a path where they don't know where to go, and they're really looking to navigate where there is really no map. And that's really what those tools are meant to do. And that's something that really called me, because I myself made different changes in my life, and sometimes changes feel scary, where you don't really know where to go, and there isn't a map, like when you're at school and there's always what's coming next. Sometimes when you're looking to take a next step in a career or even in life, there is no map, and so that really felt good to me in terms of doing that training, and it's something I enjoyed.
That makes me have another question. So in general, how do you choose what next training or next certification to do? What are the factors that come in your mind?
That's a good question. I don't necessarily, always seek new trainings, but sometimes I'm an avid reader, and I like to go, to, for example, even events organized by coaching communities, and sometimes I'll hear something that really calls to me, like for example, the Designing Your Life methodology. I'm a compulsive reader. I read many books, and I read their book and I felt like, wow, this is really interesting. And, if they have a course, if they had a course, I really would like to take it. And then later I came across their course, and I was like, okay, I'm taking it. So it's, sometimes it feels like maybe it's a little bit random, or at least it has been so far. It doesn't mean that it will always be that way, but it's really what calls me sometimes, and this one did. The emotion piece was different. That was something that I felt I really needed for myself to really change a little bit the way I coach as well, because as a person I tend to be more in my head versus with my emotions, and I wanted to change that a little bit. I wanted to be able to bring a little bit more of the emotional side also into my coaching, and that's what made me go in that direction. But I cannot tell you what my next training will be. I'm not yet as methodical in terms of thinking about the next training. Sorry.
Okay. But you seem to be a proper coach. I mean, you're very mindful and just self-aware about yourself and about how to improve yourself as a coach. So, I mean, this is good promotion for others to come to you as a coach. It's fantastic, clearly. Now, speaking of which, what's your unique value and service proposition as a coach to your clients?
Aligned to what I said earlier, I like to work with professionals, with individuals that are looking to take their next step, whether that's in something they already know and they're really looking to feel confident and, like happy in balance with their next step. Or, in the case of designing your life, whether it's something that they're not quite sure about, that they're looking to still map out. So it's really looking to kind of plan and feeling ready for a next step. That's the type of people that I like to work with, and yeah, we could call it service proposition.
Oh, well, there you go. Everyone who is listening, probably many will be contacting you then. So,
no complaints there.
So what has been the biggest insight for you in your coaching career so far?
I would say the fact that for me it is important to be okay with being uncomfortable, with with making mistakes sometimes, and still giving myself the opportunity to continue on and being authentic. So I believe that some of the best coaching that I do is when I'm authentic, also with my fragilities and with making myself kind of sometimes uncomfortable and I would say uncomfortable. And so that's the most important thing, being authentic with ourselves and with our clients.
I hope to be commencing my coaching journey soon, and that really makes me think, what do you actually do when you feel uncomfortable or when you don't know what to do with your authenticity? How do you overcome that? Because I would be completely petrified, because it's also a human relationship at the same time. How do you overcome it?
I think it's okay with, being vulnerable is okay sometimes, and that's about, authenticity. But I think, in coaching is not really so much about the coach. Coach is about leaving space for a client.
Mm-hmm.
And so the way I overcome these moments where you don't know, first of all, is having some sort of compassion and saying, okay, it's okay to not know, but it's also really keeping a focus on the client and remembering that, I'm there for that person in front of me. So really giving 100% of my attention to the person that I have in front of me, and listening deeply. And I find that, believe it or not, when I do that, um, the coaching happens. Even sometimes when I find that I don't quite know in which direction to go, then it kind of the direction shows up when I'm really focused on the person that I have in front of me.
I see. Thank you for that. I'll keep it in mind. Now, speaking of learnings, what are your greatest learnings about building a coaching practice? So when you're starting out.
For me, the most important thing is really to put yourself, or in my case, myself out there, and just telling people what it is that I do, and even what coaching is, because not everyone really understands coaching the way that ICF intends coaching. And that's important. It's important to make sure that more people kind of get access to coaching. But I would say it's also important to develop a coaching practice. I would say more important than a lot of other things, like having a website, or being feeling 100% certain about the niche. Those are all important things. But really, that piece of networking, or getting out there and explaining what coaching is important. And in my case, I'm not a full-time coach, and so it is challenging. It's challenging to kind of find time sometimes to do this type of work, and of course the pandemic didn't help, but it is important to tell as many people as possible, both for our own practice, but I would say also for coaching in general, to make sure that it becomes more and more understood. And I think then when coaching will become more understood, I think by default also individual coaches' practices will grow.
How was your first experience in integrating to the coaching community? Was it hard the first time?
Honestly, I didn't find it hard. I think in general, I became involved with ICF Switzerland last year, and I found the group quite welcoming. I became involved, little by little, but the group was always super welcoming, and I think there are many opportunities, I would say, throughout Switzerland to network and become involved. And even with the pandemic, there were always many online events. So I haven't found it hard to be involved with the coaching community in Switzerland. I think, yeah, there's many opportunities even to support each other, if people have time to do that.
Mm-hmm. Carmen, I've spoken enough. It's your turn. You have some moments of Alessandra to yourself.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Emily. Thank you, Alessandra, for the answers for the beautiful questions that Emily just asked. Actually, following into Emily's and what you just said, I hear about being out there and actually explain and say what coaching is about, to tell people to understand what it is. So, speaking about a person who is undergoing, the steps to get certified by ICF, and speaking about the new coaches, what tips will you give in addition to be there and explain what coaching is about to potential coaches or to people in general to understand more this career, this profession? What additional tips will you give us?
Go out there and coach. Find any opportunity. I think coaching is one of it's one of those things where there's many things that are called coaching, but they look quite different. And so I think to make sure that the way we do coaching, the way that ICF intends coaching becomes more understood, the best way is to offer coaching and to offer demonstrations as well, because that's, I think, really the best way to experiencing it is the best way to understand it and to see how powerful it can be. And some people think like, oh, I want a coach and I want you to have guidance on this, and that. And then once you go and tell them, well, actually, I cannot give you any guidance, they're like, oh, okay, then what good is it? So, and that's sometimes because of, a model of coaching that, there are different models. And so sometimes it's hard to explain what it means to find your own answers, and the fact that other people's answers are not necessarily the best answers for yourself. And I think the best way is really to experience it.
Okay. Sounds very good. I think I'm going to apply that myself to do, a bit more pro bono in parallel to my clients, to be out there. Talking only at home, because I think now that talking at home with my daughter, she knows what coaching is about, that she's only 14. Actually, I see what you're saying. The other day she made a question, a comment, and she said, well, I think what my friend should need now is a coach. Because, and then I said, okay, so I think I can see what you're saying. It's easier. I'm at home, we talk about what we do, but talking about what we do and gets people to learn about it, and then probably do some practice, as you said, demonstration. I want to keep that in mind. And talking about that, and talking about the coaching world that you just came into the last years, have you seen any difference when you just began to coaching journey, or have you realized a new trend? I know it's difficult with the conditions of COVID, and things have changed a lot nowadays, but can you pay attention, or have you checked, or have you realized if there is any new trend going on in the coaching community right now?
The newest thing, or one of the newest things is, as you know, ICF has introduced the new team coaching competencies quite recently, and so lots of people have been talking about that. And about, becoming familiar with these competences to then be able to practice as a team coach. So that's certainly one of the things that is a little bit newer in the coaching world. Although team coaching was there before, but I think ICF meant to kind of make it a bit more formal, to formalize that process as well.
So, would you say that what is team coaching is making more, formalized will be more, it will be like a new accreditation for the competencies, or what does it mean necessarily? Specifically?
So for now, just there are competences that have been kind of released by ICF or introduced by ICF. And so I'm not sure exactly what the future holds.
Okay.
But it seems that they are kind of moving towards, recognizing also the team coaching piece, and recognizing what type of competences people need to have to be a team coach.
Okay. I guess, okay. And now I'm thinking about this virtual world with COVID that we're discussing right now. I guess team coaching must be a bit more challenging now, right? Isn't it? In the virtual world, I guess I don't know if it's competencies. I will have to check them out. Are aligned with the new situation.
Interesting observation. Who knows? I think team, coaching groups or teams can be done online. Of course, it can be challenging, or for sure there are different challenges than have been, sitting in front of a group in a room. But it can be done, and so the question, I think it depends on the preferences of the individual coach, what individual coaches feel comfortable with, but also with the people they're working with. And that's not to say that for example, a hybrid model could not work, where some of the meetings are held online and other meetings are held face to face. So I think it doesn't have to be all of it or nothing. I think it really depends on people's creativity, what they feel comfortable with, and also what they enjoy doing.
Yeah, I hear you. And it's interesting because ICF is constantly looking forward to see what is going on and to incorporate it and to standardize it, to have some competences, some ethic values and competences to do practicing what is happening right now. And so since ICF, talking about ICF and everything that's ICF giving to new coaches, I was wondering or curious to learn from you, what motivated you to apply to work as a volunteer for ICF, to become a associate board member?
Yeah, I already had some experience working with ICF previously from last year. I supported the team with a couple of different projects, and then at the beginning of this year or late last year, I saw this job posted, this position posted, and I just became curious about it. And for me, it was really the desire to feel that I was part of a team of coaches. So, as you were asking earlier, whether it was hard or easy to meet with coaches. That was one of the things, right? I really wanted to get to meet other coaches, but also in Switzerland, ICF is still an association that is an organization that is still relatively small, and so I just felt that it would be nice to support the organization growing a little bit and also making coaching more widely known in Switzerland. So I applied, and here I am.
So talking about that and the role you took as an associate board member, so may you tell me from the inside, what kind of steps that ICF is taking towards the coaching community or providing to the coaching community? I mean, what kind of specific roles or projects you were working on towards diversify and increase the knowledge about coaching to the public or to coaching community?
Sorry, I didn't get the question. What type of opportunities ICF? Maybe we need to cut this piece. I didn't get your question. What type of opportunities ICF?
No, I was just wondering what kind of, in your role specifically, what does ICF or a board, associate board does inside to work and help the coaching community?
Oh, okay. I mean, ICF organizes a number of opportunities for members. So, as an example, there are training opportunities. So, training events organized for members, for example, that are seeking certification. And so, what are the steps to, achieve that certification in a way that is as pain-free as possible? As an example, an opportunity that ICF offers every year is the International Coaching Week. That's something that I supported this year, where really there is an opportunity for all coaches that are ICF coaches to provide a presentation or a workshop or a training or even a coaching hour to members of the public during that particular week. So that's really a tremendous opportunity for coaches in Switzerland, because it's international. So it's to have an opportunity to kind of show your work and show yourself both in Switzerland but potentially also abroad.
It sounds very interesting. So ACF is very active, and from what we were discussing before, and what in terms of the learning what coaching is about, right? Many people don't know what is really coaching. There is many other terms that are linked to coach, like football coach, like a school coach, for different, or theater coach, etc., etc. So what do you think the coaching community in Switzerland should do more actively to strengthen the reputation of the coaching profession? I mean,
I would say for sure get out there and interact with organizations more. with the different Swiss organizations. There's many organizations that could benefit from coaching, non-for-profit, businesses, even reach out to universities potentially to support students that are transitioning into the job market. I think there's really a lot of opportunities. There have been, ICF has provided pro bono coaching to specific populations. In the past, there was a program called Coaching Heroes. But I think, and that's, a fantastic initiative. But I think there is more that can be done. And I think there's great opportunity to make coaching broadly available to different people in the population. I think now big businesses or senior people in businesses are starting to know coaching because it's offered. But I think there is a lot of the population, I think everyone would benefit from experiencing coaching and having a coach. And so I think there is many groups that we could go out to.
See, I think it's a great idea, what you're saying. I think offering these coaching heroes was a fantastic initiative. I even recommended to my brother, I sent the link, because it was also offered to coach abroad. It was not exclusively to Switzerland. So it was a fantastic initiative, actually. It was beautiful. So what is, we have seen already to this interview and the previous interviews that ICF is very active, very supportive to us, to the community of coaches, to the people who are applying, or are on their way to become a coach, and the community in general. So what are the aspects or the what is the benefits for you that being a member of ICF? ICF contributes to the members and non-members, the coaching community in general, but people can have the option to become a member too, the global and also Switzerland. So from your point of view, I'm curious to know what are the benefits that give you the membership of ICF?
For me, for sure, having access to all of the, the trainings that, the events, the trainings, but also the networking available to specifically to members. I think that's important. Sometimes, as a coach sitting, alone at home, in front of a computer, or even just working one-on-one can be a bit lonely. And I think having a support community is important. And I think there's a lot of coaches out there that are quite empathetic and quite supportive. And it's important to also have a group to possibly share experiences as a coach and ask for advice. So for me, that was an important piece.
It's a beautiful family, really. And I think we can all relate with that, right, Emily? It's fantastic. Even now we are becoming members, but yeah. Thank you, Alessandra. Now we're going to ask the last question, and for many the difficult one, because we live here, we love it. We are also Swiss, we can say now after many years living here. What would you say is your favorite spot in Switzerland, and why?
Yeah, so that's a tough one because honestly, there's so many beautiful spots. And I love to go to the mountains in the summer. I love to hike. So, I've been to many different places, but one that I keep going back to every year, it's become almost a family tradition. I don't even know why, but, we've been going since my son was 2 and, not since he was 1, really. And we go every summer, and it's a Keseruk, on top of the Valensee. And it's a beautiful place, especially in the spring, late spring. It's full of, wildflowers, and early summer, it's absolutely, the views are breathtaking, and it's unbelievable. There's Steinbach, the mountain goats, and honestly, also the restaurant up there is really nice, which I'm a foodie. I like to eat, which is, sometimes it's okay. But it's a really, really good restaurant up there. So yeah, go check it out. Recommend it.
Thank you so much, Alessandra, for sharing your story. But actually, I have one more question, because I was gonna say thank you for sharing the story, which we are very grateful for. But I'm curious because before closing, I don't want to miss this. You mentioned a couple of questions ago that you work. It's difficult to work. While you work in the company and then you're coaching. What tips will you offer to people like in your same situation to be able to focus? Because we have to have the set of mind, the coaching mindset when we are on a coach, and then when we are in the company, completely two different settings. So what kind of tips would you offer for people that are in the same situation like you? I don't want to miss this one because I am kind of entering the same situation like you, and I would like to know your experience and share it with me.
Yeah. So for me, I, in a way, I'm fortunate because I kind of split my week into two, and the first half of the week I work at a company, and the second half I am a coach. But so that helps a little bit to kind of separate the two worlds. But in a way, I also feel that it's important to kind of be who you want to become in a way, right? And so, I also try to use every opportunity at work to remind myself that, I'm a coach. I want to be a coach. And so to do some of that, if I can, at work, and that's great. That's fun. But if I can't, I always have that in mind, and that also helps me to in the way I behave, in the way in a way channel my energy, and in the way that I prioritize what I do through my day.
So would you say that you are a coach actually most of all the time, and applying your the coaching a beautiful gift really in your other profession, if I understand clearly somehow?
Yes, I try.
Coaching
And, sometimes I'm able to, sometimes I'm not, and when I'm not, I try to have a lot of self-compassion.
That's fantastic. It's very beautiful to finish it with passion. Really, very thankful for this interview, Alessandra. Thank you so much. I'm wondering if Emily has another question.
Both Carmen and I asked you questions related to our own experiences and hopefully future experiences. I had other one as well, which is especially for beginners like me, like you're both seeing it now in hindsight about how it is now that you're in your coaching journey. And from the time you began, the world has changed so much right now. And for me, as I'm going to start my coaching journey, I'm like, how do I even start coaching people? Because do I just go up to them, have a relationship and say, oh, you need a coach? It's so weird for me to think about this because I tell you, if I didn't know about the ICF, which I didn't until I found this volunteering opportunity, I would just find it impossible to do in Switzerland, which is why it's amazing that the ICF Switzerland exists. So, for you in your time, how was it for you to get your first client? How was that experience?
It was interesting. I think it's always exciting, and it's also a bit scary. With the first client or the first paying client. But for me, it's going back to get out there and tell people, even people that you're a coach and what coaching is, because the reality is that a lot of especially in the beginning, I think a lot of this is word of mouth. And, I'm not a seasoned coach. So, you may ask also someone else who has been in this for longer than I have. But I think that some of it is that. It's about, speaking to people and then maybe, at the moment you tell them they will not need a coach. It's not really necessarily about selling, but it's about, sharing also what it is that you do and why you do it. And then, sometimes something, will come back and sometimes not, and that's fine as well.
Thank you. I hope to keep that in mind. You've inspired me a lot though throughout. I tell you, I think both Carmen and I can agree that it's been fantastic having this interview with you and just immersing ourselves. And at least from my side, I can see you're so passionate, and that's what really motivated you throughout your journey. It's so inspiring. So thank you for just inspiring us tonight with your passion.
Thank you very much, Alessandra. Really.
Thank you, Demidi. Thank you, Carmen. It's been really a pleasure to be here with you tonight.
Yeah, it's been so inspiring and a lot of insights from your heart. So I love that honest connection. And I can see, you mentioned earlier how you're being with your clients, because I feel that. And as Emily said it, with your energy, you can really transmit all your, in this case, sharing your knowledge and your passion. So as a coach, and thank you so much for today.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Keep up the good work. You're doing fantastic, it seems.
Yes.
I want you to coach me at this.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Yes.